Alright, hello, my lovely bonums. How is everyone today? I am going to send out my usual live now tweet. And we can get everything going. Alright. What else am I doing? That's what I'm doing. I am also telling other people that I'm live now, because not everyone has Twitter. Okay. And I know that the Twitch live now notifications from people you're following don't always work great. Especially if you rely on like the email notifications. There we go. And with that, we should be all set. Alright, let's get the game going. There you are. Alright, and with that, there we go. And you might be wondering why I had the can toggle open, and that's why, and the reason why is, haven't had this for a while. There you go. Oh, interesting. So it wasn't just Balatro. OBS fucked up all of my, Okay. It fucked up all of my game captures. That's interesting. Don't you just love when you update OBS and just absolutely everything fucking breaks? Alright, and... Alright, there we go. What? No. Back. No. There we go. I accidentally clicked start instead of continue. Yep, my only save slot, because again, you can hop through the timeline anyway, so it doesn't make a huge deal. Huge difference. Alright. It took him less than a second to run the numbers. He opened the 7th piece of paper and spoke.
Okay, the last one is mine. I want to go through...
And... Alright, so... Which door should we head through? Our options are 1, 2, and 6. God, I don't even remember who we have. So we have everyone but... Yes, that's right. We have everyone but Snake. So... Alright. So... Let's see. 1, 2, and 6. So, if we want door 2, we need to have... And we need at least 2 other people. So... We're 5, so we need 7, which would be Ace and June. Or actually, hold on. Let me... Alright. Yes, 7 and Lotus want door 2. Yeah, Ace and Clover want door 1. So, that's 5. And then if I join them, that's also 5. So it'll be 1. 7 and Lotus want door 2, which 7 plus 8, is 15, so 6. If I add me, it's 11, so the short of that is 2. And then Santa and June want door 6. Which is 9. So if I choose door 6, everyone has to regroup. Well, absolutely everyone has to regroup. Whereas... Wait, so they're 9. I think whichever group I choose is gonna screw over the other group as well. Let's go... Fuck it, let's go door 1. Top of the line. Door 1.
Choice is door 1.
Santa was unconvinced.
Hey, wait a minute there. You cheating?
Cheating?
I'm asking if you changed your number after you heard what doors we wanted.
Just here to chill, assuming no backseating allowed. Yeah, no backseating allowed unless I ask for it. I am familiar with the story, but I don't remember the puzzles. It has been like a decade since I touched this game. So, yeah. Hi, Cowdrender, and hello, couplets. Welcome, welcome, everybody. We have just selected door number 1. And it is currently the penultimate door.
How could I do that? I wrote it down on the paper earlier.
Let me see that.
Sure, here.
Junpei shrugged and handed it to him. Santa examined it furiously. The others peered at it as well. As they did, Junpei quickly slipped the piece of paper he'd been hiding into his pocket. Although he'd never know it now, Santa had been justified in his suspicions. Junpei had switched papers.
I had 3 pieces of paper ready.
For doors 1, 2, and 6.
I put the one with door 6 on it into the pot.
He put a small mark on it so that he would know which one was his.
I just needed to make sure I drew last. After I saw everyone else's result, I just chose whatever door I wanted. If the number I'd already put in matched, then I didn't have to switch the paper out. Well, what does it say?
He fought the urge to smirk. Oh god, Junpei's Kira.
Lucky.
Santa snorted and tossed the paper aside, frustrated.
Very well. We've decided who...
Why is it that as soon as I open my window, my neighbor starts smoking? Oh my god. Hold on. No. No, you are not shoving your head out the window, my dear. Ugh. Now my room smells like weed. Nasty. Oh god. Oh, it's so bad. Ugh. Alright, fan is going back on. I try to keep that, like, I'm just like, oh, it's finally cool enough out that I can, like, well, the right kind of temperature that I can open up my window, and then we don't have to deal with the fan noise in the background. And then every time I open my window, my neighbors start smoking. I don't know how they can tell. I guess we just have similar schedules. Fucking, I do not appreciate it. Very well, we have decided we'll go through door 1.
It will be Clover, Junpei, and myself.
1 plus 4 plus 5 equals 10. 1 plus 0 equals
Our
1.
only problem is the 2 remaining teams.
June and I want door 6.
Lotus and I want door 2.
That's not good. We can't open either of those doors with only 2 people. Aw.
Fine. 7, we'll go through door 6.
Sure thing. I didn't really want to go through door 2 anyway. Besides, if we've got a younger girl with us, it'll lower the average age. Right, June?
Well,
What does that have to do with anything? June was at a loss for words. Lotus was not.
Pig. You just wait and see.
I don't know why she had a fucking drive-by freaking icon there, but okay. Her eyes were the eyes of a woman prepared to kill. A shiver ran down Junpei's spine.
Calling me old. This is why men are such a pain in the ass. They're about as subtle as a brick.
Oh wow, she's just gonna keep going, huh?
And they're at it again.
Even after they separated at the staircase, Lotus was still muttering angrily. I fucking love how none of them can focus on the death game that's on a time limit. Yeah, I know, right? Lotus was still muttering angrily to herself.
I'll see you later, June.
Jumpy.
Circumstances dictated that Junpei and June would have to part ways again, but this time it didn't sting quite so much.
Don't make that face. It'll be like what Seven said.
We aren't going to be split up permanently till we find door 9. We might get separated for a little while, but we'll see each other again. Otherwise, we won't be able to open door 9. And that's how the notary game works.
Seven's words took a weight off of Junpei's shoulders and felt much better. I don't know how they're gonna meet up again when all the doors are on different floors,
See you
though.
soon.
All right. See you later.
Lingering unease remained, but they went their separate directions without much trouble. Junpei, Ace, and Clover headed toward A
Here's
deck.
A deck. It was the door on the left, right?
That should be it, yes.
Then here we go.
It opened, and they walked through.
It's just as Santa and Lotus said.
At the end of the hallway sat a door with a large red 1 upon it.
A numbered door.
To the left of it, bolted to the wall, was the red.
Here's the red. I'll go first.
Ace went first and waved his wrist over the scanner panel.
Now the 2 of you, if you would.
Junpei was next. Finally, listlessly, Clover lifted her arm. She leaned toward the scanner panel. The third asterisk clicked to life, shining brightly. Ace took hold of the lever.
Now.
He took a deep breath and turned to Junpei and Clover.
Are you ready? Shall I pull it?
Yeah, anytime.
Clover said nothing. She nodded, little more than a lethargic twitch of the head.
Very well then. Let's go. 3, 2, 1.
And it's open! Move it!
They stumbled into the room.
Where is it?
Frantically, Junpei scanned the room. His eyes stopped on the device that would determine whether they lived or died.
There it is! Over there!
Next to the door they'd come through was the dead. As one, they ran to it. They put their hands over it as if they were fighting for it.
It stopped.
Yes, it did.
Junpei could feel his heart pounding against the inside of his ribs. Ace and Clover were breathing hard and fast.
Whew. I don't believe I'll ever get used to that.
I'm not sure it's something I'd want to get used to. We should finish this game before imminent death becomes a normal thing.
I agree.
They say casually.
Now then.
Junpei looked around again, this time more slowly.
There's another door. Let's try opening it.
He took hold of the knob and easily, gently pulled it open.
So, this is the wheelhouse?
He closed the door again and turned to Ace and Clover. He fixed each in turn with a meaningful stare, then spoke.
Ace, you investigate the wheelhouse next door.
Very well.
Clover, you're in charge of this room.
Okay.
Say something.
Okay.
All right then, let's get started.
Seek a way out. Alright. So. Stack of nautical charts. Okay. There's nothing left in the drawer. Okay. I guess this is probably for reading maps or something. Yeah, they probably spread the map out here and there to decide on the route. Oh, wait, that was Santa's voice. Shit. Oh well. Turn. This is a pretty empty desk. My brother's desk looked a lot like this. 'Cause he couldn't see, he never put stuff on it that he didn't need. Damn, that's... What am I supposed to say to that? Poor kid. Left drawer. Let's have a look. Nothing. Pocket watch. Okay. And, wait. The voice he hadn't expected startled Junpei from his examination of the pocket watch.
Oh, pocket watch. Might I take a look at it?
He spun around to find Ace standing in the doorway. Junpei shrugged and handed him the pocket watch.
Hey, man. What are you doing over in this room?
Oh, I just thought I'd come check up on the two of you. Is there a problem?
Well, not a problem, but...
Well, not a problem, but... That's a lie. I wanted to get rid of Ace. I sent him to the wheelhouse at the beginning for a reason.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that as a player.
I wanted to talk to Clover alone.
Okay, that's why.
I want to ask her.
That's right, she never got to finish telling us about the experiment.
I don't want anyone to overhear us. I'm pretty sure Clover won't talk if there's anyone else around.
Okay.
I'm a little desperate to send him back, quick. He has to leave.
Ace opened his mouth, then took another look at Junpei and shut it again. A small smirk appeared on his face.
Oh, I see. Of course.
He looked Junpei over, then glanced at Clover.
I apologize for the intrusion. Well, best of luck.
Don't. It's not like that. Ace gave Junpei a knowing pat on the shoulder and left. Junpei let out a sigh and brushed a few drops of sweat from his forehead. He turned and found himself looking straight into Clover's eyes. She'd heard what Ace had said. She regarded Junpei with caution.
What was that about?
She was clearly suspicious, and with good reason.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Junpei's eyes widened, and he held up his hands in a gesture of innocence.
No, it's not like that.
What's it like then?
I just wanted to hear the rest of that story. I didn't get a chance to ask you about it until now.
What story?
About the experiment, remember? The one you started to tell me in the operating room? You said something about an experiment that happened here 9 years ago.
9. The number 9 again. Clover bit her lip. She stared down at the floor for several long moments, and when she spoke, it was barely audible.
I'm sorry, but I don't want to talk about that right now.
Is it just me, or is the game volume kind of low? It might be. OBS fucked up a lot of my settings. I can definitely crank it.
I'm just not in the mood, okay?
Is that any better?
You understand, right? I keep thinking about my brother. I can't stop. I mean, who would do something like that to my brother?
Alright, awesome. Again, OBS apparently fucked up a bunch of my settings, like my game windows all got resized, chat was broken when I streamed on Thursday, as per usual. Every time I update OBS, all my alert boxes and stuff break. Yeah, and like my audio settings got kind of thrown off too. I remember having to adjust, like, I had to adjust things when I started up OBS today, and then it was still messed up, apparently.
I can't forgive them. I'm not gonna let them get away with it. They're gonna pay for it. I promise. So...
Her shoulders were shaking. Drops of blood had sprung up on her lips where she was biting them. She wiped it off and looked up at Junpei, her eyes fierce and angry.
Junpei, who do you think did it?
Her voice was cold and scarcely above a whisper. Junpei gulped.
Well, if what Seven said was right, then there would have to be at least 2 of them. You need at least 3 people to open the numbered doors, and if you subtract Snake, that means there were at least 2 other people.
You're right. So, what does that mean?
Well, if we just look at the bracelet numbers, we should be able to figure it out. Who could
Yeah,
have
I already
opened
did the
door 3
calculations
with
for this.
Snake? Well, really, who and who, or who and who?
You mean it could have been 4 people?
Well, technically, it's possible.
I don't know.
Yeah, the more people there
Doesn't
are, the
seem
less
very
likely it is.
Why?
I'll tell you later. Why don't we just assume it was only 2 other people for now?
Okay, got it. Let's do that then.
Then who do you think it could be?
Junpei crossed his arms and thought. Snake's bracelet number was 2. Which 2 bracelet numbers added to 2 would give a digital root of 3? So you need everyone to agree on rather extreme action. Yeah, exactly. Oh. This is actually my last one because I gave you one of mine for the... So, you're good. Thank you! Papagawa came in with, my food. Because dinner time used to be 7, but we're trying to push it up because Papagawa has to start teaching classes next week and I start taking classes again next week. And we need to not be fully nocturnal. Which 2 bracelet numbers added to 2 would give a digital root of 3? Well, I know the answer to this, but, however, I know the actual answer here, and, yeah. But, let's just say it's not an option right now. So, +2 is... We would need a digital root of 1, so they would need to add to 10. Which means it would be... digital root of 10, which means it would be, it would be the only option I think we have is Santa and 7, but it doesn't make sense. But Santa and 7, is that the only option? Yeah, because otherwise you'd need Clover or a second 2.
Would it be Santa and 7? The digital root for Snake, Santa, and 7 is 3. Wait, hold on. Are Santa and 7 the killers?
Yeah, there we go. That's the only one that adds up out of the options that we have.
What's wrong?
Clover looked at Junpei, and he looked back at her. There was no point in hiding it.
Well, I thought about it, and...
He told her his conclusions.
That's what I thought.
She looked less surprised than he'd expected.
Santa and 7. If it was 2 people, then that's the only combination that works.
Hey, wait a minute there.
Yeah, thank God the killer doesn't have a secret override to cheat the system or anything. Surely this is the only option.
Don't you think it's a little too early to be jumping to conclusions? Well, all I said is that those 2 would have been able to open door 3 with your brother. There might be other possibilities.
Well, what other possibilities?
He didn't have an answer. He was ready to admit defeat when Clover spoke.
Are you saying you think that it was 3 or 4 people? I really don't think that's likely.
Why not?
Yeah, because you have to talk. Because you have to talk multiple other people into murder instead of just one.
Can I borrow your pen and paper?
Clover put her hand out expectantly.
Yeah, here.
Junpei pulled out his pen and pad of paper and handed them to her. She opened the notebook and wrote down several simple addition problems. Eventually, she had 8, which provided a digital root of 3. 2 plus 1 plus 3 plus 6 equals 12. And 2 plus 1 plus 4 plus 5 equals 12. 2 plus 4 plus 7 plus 8 equals 21. 2 plus 5 plus 6 plus 8 equals 21. 2 plus 1 plus 3 plus 7 plus 8 equals 21. 2 plus 1 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8 equals 21. 2 plus 1 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 equals 21. 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 7 equals 21.
What's this?
These are the combinations for 3 or 4 people. These 8 combinations are the only possible ones.
Oh, I see.
Junpei?
Zero might be a serial killer with a love of death games, but lying would just go too far.
Yeah?
I can trust you, right?
Of course. Why would you need to ask that?
Really?
She needs to ask that because that eliminates more options.
Yeah.
So then I should get rid of B, D, G, and H, right?
Of course. Just cross them out. And you should take off yours too. The ones with 4.
So, what does that leave?
A and E.
This reminds me of Yugi reacting to his villains cheating at Duel Monsters.
Wait, it can't be A.
Why?
It can't be A because I have a crush on June.
Because June's in that one. There's no way in hell she'd do something like that.
June's in that one, and I have a crush on her, therefore she is incapable of murder.
Are you sure?
Oops.
I bet my life on it.
Okay then. I can cross off A too, right?
Yeah.
You sure? She has serious yandere vibes there, bud. Yeah, but he's stupid and has a crush on her, therefore she is incapable of any wrongdoing. Even though they haven't seen each other since they were children. Surely nothing about her has changed.
Well, what have we got left?
E.
Do you know what this means?
Everyone besides me, you, and June would be working together.
Do you think that's likely? If there were 4 people working together, they wouldn't be very cautious. I don't think they'd try that hard to hide what they were doing if they outnumbered us, right?
Well, you do have a point.
And besides, if Ace and Seven are working together...
A good point. Couplets. And the fact that she felt mid-death game was a good idea to float the idea of shower sex is a bit of a red flag. Yeah, just a little bit.
They could have easily gotten rid of me when I went to the shower room with them. But they didn't. They didn't even try anything. If they were killers, why wouldn't they?
Her voice was calm, but Junpei only had to look her in the eye to know it was a forced calm. There were tears forming at the corners of her eyes, and she was blinking furiously to keep them back. Perhaps by attempting an objective analysis of who might have killed her brother, she had been able to distance herself from the harsh reality of his death. The more she struggled to act unconcerned, the more Junpei felt his heart tighten.
Oh, I see. Anyway, I understand now. It seems pretty unlikely that it was as many as 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
Then that means there's a good chance it was Santa and Seven.
That's how it looks.
But why would they do it?
There was a moment of silence.
Their motive.
He laid his hand gently on her shoulder. He was close, so close to the answer. When Ace chose the worst possible moment to return. He raised a knowing eyebrow and then spoke.
Have I interrupted something?
What is it?
There was something I wanted to speak with you about, Junpei. Could you come with me for a moment?
He turned on his heel and walked back toward the wheelhouse.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Honestly, childhood friend being innocent would be a great twist. Junpei looked over at Clover. He gave her a short nod, hoped that she would be willing to talk to him again later, and followed Ace.
What did you want to talk about?
Ace looked at Junpei and smiled, perhaps more of a smirk than a smile.
There was something I wanted to check.
Yeah? What's that?
If you'll excuse me.
With no warning, Ace slipped his hand into the pocket of Junpei's vest.
Hey, what the hell are you doing?
I'm just checking.
No, stop!
He reached for Ace's arm, but it was already too late. In the older man's hand were the pieces of paper Junpei had balled up and hidden in his pocket.
Just as I thought. What exactly are these pieces of paper hiding in your pocket? You switched them, didn't you, when we voted? Well, I can't say that I care. I managed to get through the numbered door I wanted, despite your mischief.
Then, why did you...
Oh, simple curiosity. I hope you won't think ill of me for it.
Ace smiled, gave Junpei a friendly pat on the shoulder, and then turned on his heel and laughed. Okay, so this is just reinforcing Ace's misconception that okay. Well, a misconception about the reason why we wanted to be alone with Clover. It was a small defeat, but it was a defeat. Junpei had lost the upper hand, and he knew it. He could feel his stomach begin to tense.
Damn.
This isn't good. So many drawers, but nothing inside of them. A compass. It appears to be broken, however. You see, the glass cover's been smashed to pieces. Can none of these people focus on things that aren't relationship drama for like 4 seconds? Alright, 4 seconds, but that's all you get. The helm. Well, steering wheel might be a more appropriate term. A desk. Anything in the drawers? Nope. Okay. Oh. Looks like there's some sort of lock. It's got a weird shaped indentation on it. Huh? This shape. Maybe... does look like the pocket watch would fit here. Nothing. I imagine the pocket watch is intended to go in there. Or we may need to do something with the watch first. Okay. An engine order telegraph. They use this on old ships to adjust the speed of the ship. Like the gear shift in a car? Well, it's a little different. This device doesn't connect directly to the engine. In short, it's a transmitter. The navigation officer uses it to set the speed of the ship, and it sends a signal to the engine. There's a handle on top of it which can be moved back and forth to... Hold on. Huh? There's no handle. You're right, there isn't. Looks as though it's deliberately removed. Compass. And what destiny points us to? I really hope you didn't think that sounded cool. Steering wheel. Let's see if... Whoa! Looks like the steering wheel moves. So would seem. I noticed something else as well. What's that? Well, when you move this wheel, the compass also moves. What do you mean? The ship. It's moving. Ha! Tricked you, didn't I? The wheel and the compass must be connected to one another somehow. Do you think that's important? Well, let's try turning it again. Okay. There's a compass behind now. Yeah, okay. Anything else in the desk? The right drawer? Let's have a look. Nothing. Okay. Shelves are lined with books. Let's see what's in this blue one. There's something written on it. Ship's log. Huh? Ship's log, huh? New material has been added to the file screen. Okay. It's a wooden box. Maybe a case for letters? Hey, Clover, you ever write letters? Nothing. A map. It's got the Atlantic Ocean in the middle. Hey, Junpei. What do you think these red things are? Yeah, they look like pins. What do you think they're for? Who knows? What do you mean, who knows? Come on, be serious. I am. Alright. Let's go to the item screen and take a look at these. I think this is a nautical chart? There's this line on it here. I think the line is the route the ship is supposed to take. There are these dots all over the map. Oh, these are probably ports, like for a boat to stop at. Looks like the lines connect the dots. A world map with the Atlantic Ocean in the center. There are a number of red pins in several locations. What do these red pins mean? Well, the nautical charts I picked up earlier have a map like this one. Maybe one of them matches up to the pins or something. Let's see. Now, what do you know? Looks like this one's a match for the pins. Okay, so we've got 7 locations connected by straight lines. Each one has a word next to it. That's probably the speed. The material's been added to the file screen. Thank you. Alright. Wait, actually, no, file. No. Menu. File. Okay, ship's log. We'll leave soon for a new journey across the sea. After leaving port, we headed south and west. Okay, hold on. I need to make notes. Where is my pen?
Meow. Hi, honey. Hello. Hi, baby.
I don't have a pen on my desk. I need to go grab one. Give me a second.
Meow. Hello. Wow, honey.
As once I like a half an hour after I start streaming, Honey always decides that actually she wants attention right now. For those who don't watch me very often, Honey is my cat. Alright, so, so, port, south, west, southwest, around continent, northwest, port, east, north, UK, home of vessel. Okay. Nautical table. Shows directions of south, west, southwest, northwest, east, north, and straight. There's a word next to each point on the map. So, south equals full, west equals half, also, fun fact, the first pen that I found is a magenta glitter gel pen, so know that I am writing all my notes on that. Alright, west equals half, southwest equals slow, northwest equals full, east equals half. North equals dead. And straight equals stop. Okay. That's what it says. Alright. Now then, let's... We still need to find the handle for this. Actually. And we still need to find the handle for you. And we need to figure out what to do with the stopwatch. Okay. There's something we need to do with the stopwatch. Alright. Let's... It's a wooden board with circular hole in it. Okay. Nothing there. There is nothing in these. Head back out there. Is there anything else in here? No, okay. Okay, and that's just the wheelhouse again, okay. And that's the door we came through. Where is the lever? Well, let's take a look at it. That's a pocket watch. Sure hasn't been saying much, and she just keeps looking at the floor. She seems kind of sad. Okay. Anything else in the books? Shelves are lined with books. Looks like they all have something to do with sailing. None of them look very useful. Any other files that we got? Yeah, okay. Alright. That's not helpful. Damn. Okay, so nothing about time. Light. It looks kind of like a wilted flower. Okay. Right, I've got the nautical chart matches the pins. I don't think I need to spend any more time with this map. Alright. So, if there's something I'm missing, it's probably in the other room. Alright. Broken compass doesn't look like it'll be very useful. These are empty. These are empty. This thing won't budge. Feels like there's something keeping it in place.
What would be the point of moving it? The ship is stopped. What would be the use of steering it?
Yeah, I know. Still. There's another room on the other side of the window. Okay. Circular hole cut into this board. Okay. Alright. Well, I'll try doing the directions for now. Alright, so. Steering wheel, steering wheel. We move it when the direction changes. This or something that if I enter directions in that order. Maybe that'll give us the handle. Okay, so. North, 2. Stop. south to west, then southwest, then northwest, then east, and finally north. What? I thought I clicked stop. Shit. Why did you go northwest? Fuck. Compass behind the helm. Yeah, I know there's a compass behind the helm. I have to redo it now because it didn't stop in time. Fuck. Okay. So. North. South. West. Southwest. Northwest. East. North. There we go. What the? The handle came off. Stooping so low, are you, Zero? Yeah, and then that's gonna be for... Okay. Man, I thought I was gonna have to do these in the same order. Whoops. Alright. So, I sure hope this handle fits. Yes, it fits. Excellent. That should allow us to operate the engine order telegraph. Let's give it a shot. Okay, good. Alright, so... Good, I don't need to worry about both. Alright, so... We start with full. And then half. Then slow. And then full. And then half. Then dead slow. Then stop. Huh? That's weird. I thought I put in the right speed. Did I mess up? No, I don't think so. Look, something's happened on the back wall of the wheelhouse. Yeah, you're right. Let's check it out. Oh. There's something on the wall that looks kind of like an arrival board. There are a whole bunch of words on the left side on display. What the hell is this? Names of ports across the world. I imagine it's showing us the ship's route. You know, just like the ones you might see at an airport. Departing carrier flight blank at blank o'clock. Like that. Oh, I get it. It does look like those are the names of all the ports along the ship's route. It looks like only one of those has a time on it, though. A time on the last line, right? 10 seconds past 3 o'clock. Perhaps that's the arrival time. Okay, Mechanical pocket watch with the spring. It doesn't appear to be working. The hands will stop 5 minutes, 39 seconds past 10 o'clock. Turning the knob does nothing. Yeah, it's probably broken. So you could move the hands, however. Okay. Alright, let's look over at the thing again, and then digital scoreboard or something like that. Final port. Oh, perhaps. Oh, what's he doing? Excuse me, Junpei. Hey, you just took my pocket watch. Hey, what the hell are you doing? Just trust me. It should be fine now. Well, thanks for giving me the pocket watch back, but you don't need to look so smug about it. Let's see what he... Oh, he moved the hands. 10 seconds past 3 o'clock. Oh, so you changed it to match the final arrival time. Ace nodded slowly. You know what to do next, right? Give it a shot. Okay. Although, I'm pretty sure that, it looks like, probably because it was just directly... Usually when there's, like, translation errors like that, it's because it was directly translated from, like, the, katakana. And, so I'm pretty sure that what said Loam up on the board was supposed to be Rome, but because, katakana, like, Japanese doesn't have an L sound, it uses the R sound. So they probably overcorrected and were just like, oh, this one was probably an L too. It's like, no, I think that one was just supposed to be Rome. Because it seems to have been about around Europe. Like, Cork is a city in the UK, so... looks like some sort of lock, got a weird shape, shaped like a pocket watch. There we go. Now that's set to the correct time. Yes! Yes, it says open now. Good work. It seems you were successful. Well done, Junpei. Hey, Clover! What? Look, we unlocked the door. Now we can get out of this room. Oh, well, let's go then. Clover. You found it!
Oh, a hallway.
It's far too narrow to be called one.
They found themselves in a small space outside of the wheelhouse. On their left was a wooden door.
This seems to be the only route.
Yeah, let's go.
Junpei pushed it open and stepped into the room beyond.
Wow.
It was full of all manner of turn-of-the-century electronic equipment.
Well, these machines are weird. I've never
It
seen any
looks like
before.
the communications room.
Wait, this one is...
It's Morse code. One smaller machine had a metal bar that ended in a circular handle. Ace seemed to recognize it.
Ah, yes. A telegraph key. These were used to transmit Morse code a long time ago.
He turned and slowly took in the room.
This must be the communication office.
Yeah. That's what I thought as well. Across the room from the door they'd entered through was another door.
And that door?
A metal plaque was nailed to it. It read, Captain's Quarters.
Captain's quarters. Huh.
That's what it says.
Then, do you think...
Ace swallowed. Junpei could feel his hands begin to sweat. Only Clover seemed unaffected.
Well, we won't know if we don't open it.
She walked up to the door and put her hand on the knob. It opened easily, and without so much as a pause, she walked in. Junpei and Ace followed. The first thing they saw was a man on the floor, covered in blood. Junpei felt his body seize up. His mouth went dry, and he felt very, very cold. The blood in his veins slowed to a crawl, and his heart tightened like a fist.
Not again.
This was the third time he'd seen the horror of death laid out before him. He didn't think it was something he could stand to see much more of. Still, he had begun to accept that whatever it was that he saw, whatever happened to him, was beyond his control, and whatever force controlled him was driven by a determination that he could not hope to match.
Damn.
A sense of helplessness, of desperation, washed over him. It left behind a feeling of utter emptiness that wormed its way through his body like acid.
No, wait. We didn't check his pulse yet. Maybe he's still alive.
Bro, you saw how pale that body was. Ain't no way. That shit's in rigor mortis already. Fueled by that spark of hope, Junpei ran to the man's body, and his heart fell. When he touched his hand to his neck,
No pulse.
his pupils had dilated and he wasn't breathing.
Well, he's dead. Damn. If only we knew how it happened.
Junpei lifted the man's already stiff body. There was a deep red wound on his chest.
These wounds. I wonder what killed him.
Junpei didn't have to wonder long.
It must have been this.
For lying next to the corpse was an axe. The entire blade of it was drenched in bright red blood. Well, I mean, it would be, like, dried brown by now. From the shape of the man's wound, there could be no doubt that it had been made by the axe. Junpei looked at the body again. A lake of blood stretched out around it. It was wearing the clothes of a ship's captain, although they were stained with blood.
These clothes. A captain. Does that mean this guy was Zero?
On his left hand was a bracelet. The number on the bracelet was 0. He's from the group that only had 2 hours but died trying to discuss tragic backstories. Yeah, he was from the focus group.
Bracelet 0.
It was only then that Junpei noticed the stench of blood that filled the room. He couldn't help but laugh. There was nothing else for him to say. It was too simple, too obvious, too straightforward. If there hadn't been a dead man on the floor, Junpei might have thought it a joke.
Junpei.
It may be wise to find a way out of here first.
Yeah, you're right.
Seek a way out. Alright. Camera. A camcorder. It looks like it's pointed at the door. Well, the power's on. Why would someone want to videotape a door? I think this kind of camera records to a hard drive. But it doesn't look like this one's recording anything. What do you mean? It's just sending whatever it sees to something. What does it see? A door. Okay. Music box. Okay. Oh, it's one of those old music boxes. how about we wind it up?
Why does it sound like that? Is it broken?
The pins on the cylinder are shaped all weird.
I don't think those are the pins. It looks like someone put something else on top of it. I think we're gonna have to take it apart to figure out what's going on, don't you?
Okay. I'll need a tool to do that with then. Small table. Okay, nothing else there.
There's blood on the chair. Do you think this was the dead guy's?
Yeah, probably. This track is kind of weird.
A bed. There's nothing in it.
Okay. What's the deal with this? Is it some kind of code? There are 4 rows of numbers and letters. They all start with 0 and end with 8, F, N, or V, respectively. Maybe this has something to do with number bases.
New material has been added to the file screen.
Okay. Oh yeah. Also, I'll check the other drawers. Nope, it won't even let me check. Just some random hallway on this one. Screen shows the big hospital room. This one shows the central staircase on C deck. I don't recognize the room on this one. The room on this screen looks really fancy. This screen shows what's going on in a small room somewhere that I don't recognize. The screen's showing what happened at the central staircase on B deck. There's a bunch of weird buttons on here. They probably switch what you see on the screens.
Do you know how to work this thing?
Why don't we just press one of these? Like this one. 0. I guess it does change the... What the hell is this? There's nothing on the monitor. Just static. That's clearly text, but okay. Hey, isn't the door on that screen the one right behind us?
You're right.
Whatever this camera sees is sent to this screen in real time.
I wonder if that means something, you know?
It's also clearly text, but okay. Nothing. Looks like it doesn't work anymore. Okay. Junpei snorted with grim humor for the second time since he'd come into the room. The 4 screens along the bottom had a single letter each, spelling out
Zero, huh? It's like he's making fun of us. What do you think?
He turned to Clover, who was standing next to him. Clover nodded. It seemed that she cared about little. Of course, Junpei could hardly blame her. Given the strain she was surely under, Junpei was somewhat surprised she had responded at all. Still, he had to ask. He gestured toward the corpse.
What about him? Do you think that's really 0?
Clover shook her head weakly.
There's no way that's him. Didn't I tell you already? 0 is one of us.
Yeah, right.
Well, even if he wasn't one of us, there's no way that man could be 0.
Huh?
Don't you get it? The letters that spell 0 on the TV screen, the captain's clothes he's got on, and of course, the bracelet with a 0 on it. It's too obvious. Look, this is 0 right here. This dead body is 0. Isn't that kind of fishy?
You're right. Only an idiot wouldn't see through something like that.
No, that's not the point. So I'm not trying to make fun of them for thinking a trick like this would work. I'm sure they didn't think it would work, which makes me wonder.
I think this is a challenge. A challenge from the person who's really behind all of this. He's making fun of us. Don't you get it? If whoever killed this guy really wanted us to think this corpse was 0, they'd never have put a bracelet on him. Walking around with a zero bracelet would be like hanging a sign around your neck that said, "I did it!" Anyone with a brain would be able to see that this guy is supposed to look like everything Zero is supposed to be. Just like we did. The killer must have known we wouldn't think he was Zero and put the bracelet on him anyway. Do you know why?
Why?
Like I said, he's mocking us. Too bad, suckers, this isn't Zero. Where's the real me then? See if you can catch me. It's the same bad joke a lot of criminals like to play. They'll just sit back and watch people run in circles.
That's really twisted. But it almost seems kind of childish.
Yeah, you're right. It's really childish. It's like it's just a game to whoever this person is. That's what seems funny to me.
It's like a game. A death game. Stupid. Junpei bent down next to the corpse.
Alright, let's get back to the point. Who killed this man?
I don't know.
And what's this guy's deal? Who is he?
How would I know that? If I knew anything, I would have told you.
You have no idea who he is.
Oh, I thought he was just asking rhetorically.
Why would I?
Junpei sat back on his haunches and thought.
We should check and see if he's got anything on him that might tell us who he is. Give me a hand here, Clover.
I literally just entered the room with you. Yeah, for real.
Huh?
We gotta flip him over. How else are we gonna search his pockets?
Clover didn't move.
Okay, fine. Guess I'll do it.
Junpei had no choice but to move the body on his own.
Here we go.
Where the fuck is Ace? He's supposed to be here right now. He grabbed hold of an area not completely covered in blood and shoved. It took a moment, but eventually Junpei felt the man's bulk begin to shift. But just as it did, something fell from the man's left wrist. They did say that they would... It did say that they would come off. It said that they would come off once your pulse reached 0. The bracelet was 0 on the face.
Lastly, let us discuss how to remove the bracelets. There are only 2 ways to do so. 1. You escape from this ship. 2. Your heart rate reaches 0. In other words, once the bracelet is taken outside the confine of the ship, or detects that the wearer's heartbeat has fallen to 0, it will shut down automatically.
Oh god.
I mean, by that logic, to be fair, they haven't had anything that would do the job until now. Like, the act could probably do it, but you could absolutely just cut off your hand to get that shit off.
This man, he's dead, isn't he?
Huh?
Yeah, we already established that.
No, it's just, I guess I didn't really think about it until right now. If his bracelet's off, that means he's dead.
Well, it's pretty obvious that he's dead. You don't really need to look at his bracelet to figure out that he's dead.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It is pretty obvious. Well, he looks a lot better than the other bodies we've seen, though. You know? I mean, if there wasn't all this blood, he'd almost look like he was still alive.
You fucking idiot. Yeah, you tried. Crooked gold fucking you tried, star.
I mean, I know it's kind of a messed up thing to say, but he kinda has it better, you know?
Stop talking.
Dying from a bomb going off inside of you? I mean, that's just... Some of Snake's bones went right through his skin.
Stop talking.
I think the explosion must have thrown him against a wall or something.
Stop talking.
And...
Suddenly, Junpei realized what he was saying. Yeah, indeed, Junpei, shut the fuck up. How could he have been so cruel? He clapped his hands over his mouth. But it was already too late. He turned to look at Clover. She was glaring at him furiously.
What did you just say?
Her words sounded cold. He knew an apology could hardly atone for what he'd done, but he tried anyway.
Man, I am so sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I really don't know what I was thinking. I mean...
No, that's not what I'm talking about. What did you say about his arm?
Arm?
Yes, his left arm. You said it, didn't you?
Well, yeah, I did, but... I mean, didn't you see it too?
Of course not. I could barely look at him. There's no way I was gonna see the details.
Clover took a quick, deep breath.
Are you sure it was his left arm?
Junpei thought back.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
And he had a broken bone, right?
What the hell are you getting at here?
Just shut up and answer me!
She shoved her face closer to his. He could see the fire in her eyes. Junpei winced and swallowed.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it was pretty bad too. The bone was sticking out of the arm.
No sooner were the words out of his mouth than Clover's expression changed.
Clover? What's wrong? Look, I'm sorry if I said anything.
Suddenly, she was crying. Junpei, you're going to get stabbed by her and it's going to be justified. Junpei wasn't sure what to do.
Thank you.
It was close to the last thing he had expected to hear.
Huh? What are you...
Junpei had no idea what had just happened. He didn't think he'd done anything worthy of thanks, and he couldn't understand why she would have chosen that moment to begin crying. So he simply stood there, confused.
Thank you so much, Junpei.
She thanked him again, and then something even stranger happened. Clover threw herself into Junpei's surprised arms.
Hey, what's going on with you?
I'm sorry, it's just... I'm so happy.
Why?
The body in the shower room, it isn't his. It isn't my brother.
Huh?
It's not Snake.
Why on earth would you think that?
Because his left arm is...
She stopped herself.
I'm sorry.
Does he have a prosthetic arm?
I really shouldn't be talking about this.
Junpei decided it would be prudent not to press her for any more information. If she didn't wish to tell him, she certainly had a reason for doing so. Perhaps more importantly, however, if Clover was so certain, then she was likely right. That meant that the body in the shower room wasn't Snake. It wasn't much, but that knowledge lifted some of the weight from Junpei's heart.
But he's still alive.
The killer knew he was blind but forgot about the arm.
I'm so happy.
Tears shone in her eyes. Those tears melted Junpei's heart. Or, yeah, the killer knew he was blind. Or the killer maybe didn't know about the arm, because whatever is going on with the arm, clearly none of us know, except for Clover. As she cried, she pushed herself up against his chest like a child. Junpei put his arms around her and held her tight.
I'm so glad. Junpei. what's most important, and that's to have faith and to have love. If you can remember all of those, that'll bring you good luck.
Clover, there's a crazy yandere trying to fuck this guy. I would back off.
That's...
It was a laminated bookmark with a 4-leaf clover.
I only made it here because you gave me this. I was suspicious of everybody, and I was angry and miserable. But because I had this 4-leaf clover, because of what you said to me,
Yeah.
Junpei hadn't thought his words would have had such an effect on her. Her words were making him feel a little awkward.
Thank you so much, Junpei.
She looked up at him. He scratched his nose and pretended to notice something interesting somewhere else in the room.
Oh, if you really want to thank somebody, you should be thanking Santa.
Santa? Why?
Well, he was the one who gave me that thing. And the words for each leaf, I got that from him too.
Oh.
Then suddenly, Clover broke away from Junpei.
Huh?
Stab him! He looked confused. He hadn't thought she'd react that poorly. Clover began to pace across the room. Six steps to the left, 6 steps to the right, another 6 to the left, and then she stopped.
Did Santa really tell you those things?
Her eyes were serious, but not angry.
Yeah, he did. Did I, say something wrong?
Oh no, not at all. In fact, this could be really good news.
You think?
Santa knew about the words and the clover. The only people who should know about that are the other subjects.
Subjects?
The other people who were in the experiment 9 years ago, with my brother and me. But he's blind. And I was part of the Nevada test group. So neither of us would be able to recognize the faces of the people who were on this boat.
Whoa, okay, time out.
Junpei held up his hands. He took a deep breath and let it out.
Let's just calm down for a second, okay? Start from the top. Don't start with the end and then jump to the middle. You gotta start with 1 and then move to 2 and 3 and 4 and so on.
Yes, we get it, Junpei. Shut the fuck up and let her talk. Jesus Christ, what the fuck is happening?
If you don't tell me stuff in the right order, I'm never gonna be able to figure it out.
Okay.
Clover nodded.
Alright, let's start with this experiment. What happened on this boat 9 years ago?
Do you know about morphogenetic fields?
Yep. Told you they would keep coming up.
Morphogenetic fields.
He did, and the realization sent chills down Junpei's spine.
All right, how about this? Theory of the telepathic mechanism.
Yeah, to be honest, Junpei, between anime bullshit and your intelligence, I'm not sure you could figure it out if it was explained in order.
I think Lotus
Roasted.
mentioned something like that.
It's less that he's unintelligent. Yeah, he's not unintelligent, he's just not... He's not wise. He's, like, super oblivious and, like, not good at reading people.
Junpei recounted what Lotus had told him earlier. Clover nodded.
So where is Ace in all of this?
Telepathy, huh?
We haven't heard from him since the fucking telegram.
Well, that's not really it, but I suppose it's similar.
So they were testing telepathy on this ship?
Yeah, I guess so.
So, what exactly did they have you guys do?
The same thing that we're doing now. Exactly the same thing.
What?
The nonary game. 9 people were put on this boat, and 9 others were put in the building in Nevada, and the game started.
Junpei grabbed the sides of his head. Yeah, in an anime that's like even worse, because anime makes smart people able to predict actions of others like they're a goddamn prophet. Yeah.
Look, I'm sorry, but I don't get it. What do the nonary game and some telepathy experiment have to do with each other? Am I missing something here?
Clover bit her lip. She blinked back sudden tears. What had happened to her in Nevada?
The ability to access a morphogenetic field is affected by a couple of things. The first is epiphany, and the other is danger. You know how sometimes when you're up against a really tough problem, and then the answer just kind of pops in your head? That's an epiphany. And what you learn from the epiphany can be transmitted with telepathy. When you add danger to that equation, then it gets easier to transmit that information over telepathy.
Turns out this whole thing is a web
So
ritual,
you're saying
basically.
the nonary game was supposed to introduce that element of danger.
Yeah, but it couldn't be just any old danger. It had to be life and death. And someone did actually die. A girl.
Junpei felt the sudden grip of despair on his heart. Something deep and distant and powerful squeezed, and for a moment he felt very, very empty and alone.
She was on the boat with my brother. I was in Nevada. I never met her, but I did hear her name. Her name was...
There's Ace. The sound of the door opening was like a gunshot. Junpei spun around.
Oh, my apologies. I seem to have disturbed you.
Ace.
You two must have strong stomachs. I can't imagine how you could stay in this room for so long.
Ace glanced down at the floor. At the corpse covered in blood.
At any rate, Junpei, would you be so kind as to come and help me with something? I'm having a little trouble and I could really use your assistance. Come on, it'll only take a moment.
With that, he turned and walked back toward the communications office. Clover waited until he was out of sight, and then spoke in a small, quiet voice.
I don't want Ace to hear us. We can talk about this later.
Huh? Hey, wait!
Clover ignored him. From outside, Junpei could hear Ace calling.
Junpei, what are you doing in there? Hurry up!
Grumbling to himself, Junpei stomped off toward the communications office. Hey, what's this? It's blank. There's nothing written on it. Okay. Looks as though the drawer is the only thing that's locked. I don't see a keyhole, though. Electric locks, perhaps? Take a look on the left side of the drawer. Yeah, there's some cables over there. That must mean... There's a pair of headphones on the desk. Okay. Ink. Okay. Nothing in the drawer anymore. Small screwdrivers. Oh, well, I know what to combine that with. Alright, the screwdriver ought to make short work of this music box. Cylinder. Combine it with the ink? I guess I'll put the ink on the cylinder. And then combine it with that. I just gotta roll a cylinder across a piece of paper. If I'm right, the ink should... Yeah, Morse code chart. Alright. Sick. There's nothing in the drawer. There's air. How old are you? 9? It's an old telegraph machine. Nothing suspicious here. It's an old telegraph machine. I'll be honest, I have no idea how it works. Alright. Look, a hook. That wasn't a joke. I know, man. A clock mounted on the wall. The hands aren't moving. A little surprised that the time is wrong then, I suppose. There's nothing on the back. Alright. Yes, look, it's a model of a steam train. How on earth did you arrive at that conclusion? Yeah, alright, I've got the Morse code I'm supposed to enter. If I do this right, something will happen. I hope. Alright, let's give this a shot. That's the last one, and... Yes! Excellent work, Junpei. Good job. You seem to have figured it out. You've unlocked the drawer. Okay. A red file lay in the drawer. Junpei reached down and picked it up.
Looks like there's something on the cover. ALLICE. All ice. Alice. Does this mean...
Junpei couldn't hold back. He had to know what was in that file. Each page was covered with strange characters. They looked like tiny drawings of birds, snakes, insects, horned animals, wings, and even kneeling humans. There were many pages in the file, and each was full of these strange symbols.
What the hell is this?
He didn't realize he'd spoken out loud until Ace looked over at him.
They are hieroglyphs, a form of writing used in ancient Egypt.
Ancient Egypt?
That's right.
Can you read them?
Of course. I can't. What would make you think I could?
What the hell?
Junpei flipped through a few more pages. It wasn't just 1 or 2 pages that were covered in the strange symbols. Every single page was covered in them.
Whoa, the whole thing's like that.
Trying to read them was pointless. Junpei wasn't going to waste any more time with them. He made to close the file, and something fell out.
What's this?
He bent down and picked it up.
Oh, a key card.
There was a symbol on it that reminded Junpei of the symbols for the Saturn and Mercury keycards. This one, however, had a dot in the center of the male symbol.
Uranus. That's the Uranus symbol.
Junpei looked over to see Ace examining the card. In addition to the Uranus symbol, there were 3 words engraved on the card as well.
Something's written on the bottom. Bottom deck library. This must be the key to the library, then.
So it would seem.
Bottom deck library. Oh.
Junpei remembered something he'd heard from Seven when he'd been in the chemical closet.
Seven said something like...
Alice sleeps in a small chamber past the Forest of Knowledge beneath the navel of the Gigantic.
Could beneath the navel mean the bottom deck, and the Forest of Knowledge is the library? Then could Alice be in a room somewhere beyond the library?
What's wrong? Something on your mind?
Junpei blinked. Only then did he notice Ace looking at him. Curiosity and concern written across his face in equal parts.
Yeah. I just remembered something.
Is that so? What about?
Well, don't laugh, okay?
There was no reason for Junpei to hide his thoughts. He began to explain his theory to Ace. Then he stopped. It wouldn't make any sense if Ace didn't know who Alice was supposed to be. So he told Ace everything June had told him.
The Egyptian priestess and Ice 9. Interesting.
And the woman who wouldn't melt, who was recovered from the Titanic disaster? They called her All Ice, which eventually turned into Alice. And she was purchased by an English millionaire who called himself Lord Gordain. According to Seven, this ship is where he hid Alice.
And you think that he hid her in a small room beyond the library on the bottom deck?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is just a theory.
Ace stared off into the distance, his hands slowly and absent-mindedly stroking his beard. After a few moments, his hands stopped. He turned slowly to look at Junpei, and his brows drew together.
Junpei, have you ever heard of the term CAS?
Cass?
It stands for Cells Alive System. It is an advanced technology for freezing and preserving organic matter. Put simply, it is a technique that allows one to freeze things without the formation of ice crystals. Normally, if you freeze something fresh, water within its cells expands as it crystallizes, damaging the cell membrane. CAS, however, works differently. The object to be frozen is supercooled using magnetic fields, and then frozen instantly and uniformly, giving ice crystals no time to form. It was originally developed for the preservation of food, as an alternative to the normal freezing process. Now, however, there are rumors that it can be used for other things.
What do you mean, other things?
Well, there are obvious medical uses, but perhaps also space travel.
Space travel? Are you serious?
Surely you've heard of suspended animation, cryogenic freezing? It's a fairly common idea in science fiction books and films. People are sometimes frozen for especially lengthy journeys through space.
There we go. I was worried that we might not get any hyperfixation rants this episode. Thank God. That was when Junpei understood what Ace was suggesting.
Whoa, wait a minute there.
Ace looked at him and raised an eyebrow. This is all legitimately neat, but again, death game, time limit.
That Alice was frozen using that CAS thing?
Well, I'm sure the possibility is quite low, but it is a possibility. if the special ice you call Ice 9 does indeed exist, and casts were used to freeze her into that sort of ice instantaneously.
You think she could be alive?
Well, I can't say for sure, of course. I'm only talking about possibilities. The melting point for Ice 9 is 96 degrees, right? If she were put somewhere where she could reach that temperature...
That's nuts. Are you really saying she could have defrosted and started walking about?
You're quite right. It does sound unbelievable. But if she had, then we would have an explanation for the man we found dead on the floor.
You mean the guy dressed like a captain?
Yes. He was dead when we found him. Clearly, he was murdered. But if he was murdered, then by whom? It couldn't have been one of us. That would be impossible. In order to enter the captain's quarters, one must first open door 1. That door that requires the Earth key prevented us from accessing door 1. Who was it that opened that door?
Santa and Lotus.
Right. Clearly, the two of them could not have opened door 1, or any other door for that matter. Who else then could have done so?
Or just, I don't know, another person on the ship who's not cryo-frozen. Junpei thought for a second.
Nobody.
Except maybe Zero.
Lotus used the Earth key. They turned back and
Oh, well, yeah, that's right. We're operating on the assumption that Zero's one of us. Right. And that they have no outside help. After Santa and Lotus used the Earth key, they turned back and met up with me in June.
Then we returned to the large hospital room and found Ace, Seven, and Clover. While we'd gone into the shower room, Ace, Seven, and Clover had stayed behind. But it's impossible for those three to open door 1. But what about when June and I took the elevator to door 2? No, this still won't work. We were only gone 5 minutes. No human being could have run to the captain's quarters, killed that guy in there, and run back that fast.
It would be impossible for any of us to be the murderer. That being the case, who could have killed him? Wouldn't it make sense if his killer was someone who had been in the ship for some time? A person like that would know the ship well. They would know the locations of all the hidden passages and secret doors. The numbered door would mean nothing to someone like that. It would be a simple thing for them to enter the captain's quarters.
Or it was also, it could have been done before the game started and all the systems were activated. You're operating on the assumption that the captain was killed during the course of the game.
Then you're saying the killer was Alice?
It was Junpei's turn to raise an eyebrow. Ace drew his thumb across his lips thoughtfully.
Well, this is all only one possible theory.
And that, again, Zero is on his own and doesn't cheat. Yeah.
All ice. Alice, is she really somewhere on the ship?
Junpei had only one clue. The key card in his hand.
Maybe this card will give me access to the Forest of Knowledge. And the big mystery. What could be there beyond the Forest of Knowledge? Anyway, whatever. It's gonna have to wait. I can't do anything right now. I'll come back to this later.
He gripped the key card tighter and shoved it deep into his pocket. New material has been added to the file screen. Unique key. Okay. Junpei, what are you doing? We searched the wheelhouse from top to bottom. There's no reason to go back. In fact, don't you think it would be wise to investigate the captain's quarters? I think we ought to check both rooms, don't you? I thought that's where it led to. I'm sorry.
I suspect the unique key goes... Wait, actually, hold on. No, wait. Menu, file, numeral system chart. 10 and base 10 is written as A. Okay, so this is hexadecimal. Okay. Okay. Information about Alice. Okay. Oh, sorry. Alright. So this is the exit, huh? Don't even really have to try this door to know that's locked. Knew it. Okay. Control panel for the electronic lock. Looks like it's got a keyhole in the bottom right. Yeah, so the key fits. Junpei, look! There's a minus sign on the screen. There are 8 of them. That probably means we gotta put in 8 digits. Do you think you can figure it out? It's probably 0. Like, you have to enter 0 in, hexadecimal. They look like batteries. There's a cable running from the monitor. Okay. Screen is showing the door behind us. Okay, so it's 0, and... Alright, let's take a look at that file again. Numeral system chart. 10 and base 10 is right now saying. This chart showed the rules for each numeral system. Wait, shit. Fuck. I still didn't get a good look at it. Hold on. Off. There we go. But it doesn't have a Z. Is that base? Alright. Is it? It must... So... Okay. I know. A is 11, right? Yeah. Or no, 10 is 11, and then A is 12, right? Need to look at that one last time. No, 11 is B. 10 in base 10 is written as A in hexadecimal. Okay. Okay. Hexadecimal. Alright. So, 10 is A. So, 10 plus 25 is gonna be... Oh god. Hold on. Actually, maybe I might use that calculator. Okay. So, A is 10, so plus 25 is gonna be... So... Yeah, so, Z would be 35, I think? It's either 35 or 36. And then E, so A is 10, B, like A, B, C, D, E is, so 10, 11, 12, 13. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so E would be 14. I am also writing this down on my little
Post-it note in my glitter gel pen. E is 14. R is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R. So 8. 10 plus 18, so 28. And then O is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O. O is 15, so 10 plus 15, so 25. I can always shift them by 1 if I get it wrong. Alright, I didn't need the calculator after all. It was all simple enough. So let's try 8 digits, huh? Once I put in the 8-digit number, press E to enter it. Okay, let's give it a shot. 35, 14, 28, 25. Okay, so that was wrong. Let's try shifting it up by 1. 36, 14. I know E is 14. Like, yeah, so 10. Like A, B, C, D, E, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, so E is definitely 14. Well, let's just try changing that to 36 and keeping everything else the same. Okay. Alright, then let's shift all the others up by 1. So 36, 14, 29, 26. Huh? What's the passcode? Pretty sure I've searched every part of this room by now. Alright. Piece of paper with some Morse code. Okay, so I don't know what that says. Yeah, I know it's locked. Do I need to know what that fucking says in Morse code? Okay. Off. Hint. Oh, okay, that's what it is. Alright. Oh, that's just what it says. Okay. Or E W X Y Z. Why do I still have the Morse code? Oh god, if I need to be able to read that shit, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. Okay, let's search. I'm gonna fucking Google Morse code just to see if I am doing the right thing and trying to input 0. Like in, like the hexadecimal code for the word 0. Morse code. Let's see. So
No, that doesn't say 0. Oh wait, actually. Where's code chart? Oh no. It's... Oh. Wait. Does this say 0 backwards? No, it doesn't. What the shit? Okay. What does it say? Three dots, 2 dashes is 3. So the Morse code is 3, 5, 3, 5 equals... Hmm. 3, 5 equals... What has 2 dashes and then 2 dots? Z. Yeah, that's just giving you a hint as to the hexadecimal. Yeah, 35 equals Z. That's... Yeah? That's just saying use hexadecimal. So what part did I fuck up then? Yeah, okay. One more time. Yeah, so first one is 35, like I had suspected. And then it should be 14. And then... Hold on. Hexadecimal alphabet chart. There we go. Nope, this isn't helpful to me, actually. Fuck. Okay, so... 10. A10, B11, C12, D13, E14, F15, G16, H17, I18, K, or J19, K20, L20, M21, M22, N23, O24. I had it too high by one. Okay, so it should be 27 and 24. There we go. I had added one too many. That was the issue. Yes! It worked! Good job, Junpei! Excellent. You seem to have unlocked it. Good work, Junpei. Alright, let's go. There we go. Alright. I counted on my fingers wrong. Yeah, well. I do frequently say that it's addition and subtraction that gets me most often. Which is stupid, but it is what it is. Okay. They stepped out of the captain's hall quarters and into another hallway. The hallway stretched out in front of Junpei for a bit, before turning left, like a great backward L.
All right, let's go.
Junpei rounded the corner and took off down the straightaway. He ran and ran and ran. At the end of the hallway was a door.
That's the next door.
He made straight for it.
Wait, a piece of paper.
He was nearly halfway to it when he noticed a piece of paper in the middle of the floor. Junpei skidded to a halt.
This is...
Oh, there's a spelling mistake there. Typo in the group chat. Get him.
He dropped down to his hands and knees and quickly tore the paper off of the floor.
Map of the ship's interior for A-Deck.
Nice. Another map.
What's wrong?
Ace, slightly slower by virtue of his advanced age, had finally caught up to Junpei.
I found a map for this floor.
He showed Ace what he had snatched from the wall. He looked at it long enough to determine what it was and
I
nodded.
see.
With that, he began running again, past Junpei.
Well, that was anticlimactic.
Yup.
I should keep this, though.
Junpei shoved the map into his pocket and got up to follow Ace. But something stopped him.
Hey, where's Clover?
He turned around. Clover was nowhere to be seen.
Damn it, what the hell is she up to?
Junpei muttered angrily under his breath and took off back the way he'd come. As he stomped around the corner, he saw her. She was standing in front of the door to the captain's quarters, her hand on the doorknob.
Clover!
Huh?
As Junpei watched, she closed it, gently and quietly.
What the hell are you doing?
Nothing.
What do you mean, nothing?
Clover had, unconsciously, put her hands over the pockets of her jacket, as if trying to hide something.
What the hell is that?
What?
You've got something in your pocket. What is it?
Oh, this? This is...
She took the bracelet, didn't she?
A note?
Yeah, I found it in the pocket of the guy with the captain's clothes.
Oh,
It
yeah.
said something about the darkness of the sinister hand or something.
What the hell? Let me see it.
No, not right.
But Junpei wasn't going to get to see it. From the other end of the hall, he heard Ace's voice.
Clover! What are you two doing? Hurry up!
He's getting mad.
Clover shrugged. I just sit up. I'm totally hunched over, and it's making my mic peak because my mouth is too close.
I'll show it to you later, alright? Come on, we gotta hurry.
Before Junpei could protest, she was gone. Around the corner and off down the long stem of the L. A note. A note. Junpei was curious. But there was something else that bothered
And the
him.
look of that pocket. It doesn't particularly look like just a note. Jeez, what are you thinking? For crying out loud.
Junpei did his best to convince himself that it would make sense later, and ran off after Clover. Junpei pushed through the door and found himself in a large room with a large set of stairs.
The big stairs. So this is where it ends up. Just like it says on the map.
It was just what he'd expected to see after reading the map. His "I see" after reading the map himself meant that Ace had probably realized the same thing.
Ace, did he head down?
He put his hand on the handrail and leaned over to look down.
Oh, there he is.
Look, the 4 others are there too.
And not just Ace, Santa, June, Seven, and Lotus as well.
Really?
Let's join them.
Junpei and Clover glanced at each other and hurried down the stairs. They reached B deck at the same time.
Jumpy! Clover!
June's face was excited. Something had happened, that much Junpei could tell by simply looking at her.
What's up?
Given their situation, he wasn't inclined to be excited about sudden developments. June, however, couldn't contain herself.
We found it!
Found what?
We found it!
What did you find?
The last door! We found door 9!
What?
Come on! Just follow us! We'll explain on the way!
Okay.
Seven turned and jogged off down the stairs.
Well, if that's the case...
Wait for me.
We should get going as well.
The rest followed.
Jumpy! We finally made it!
The relief and excitement in her voice echoed what each one of them felt.
Yeah, it's finally time.
Junpei wasn't quite ready to believe they'd really done it. At least not just yet. Still, if everyone said that it was door 9... We spent too long on hyperfixations, we only have 9 minutes left. And then it probably was.
We've reached the end.
Oops. I was just trying to put my toggle away. I think I've had it up long enough. He could feel his heart racing. A mixture of anticipation and fear ran through his veins, and he could feel his legs shaking. He was doing his best to maintain a sense of healthy skepticism, but he couldn't deny that the prospect of escape was an exciting one.
Something's bothering me. Only 3 to 5 people can go through the numbered door.
Yeah.
7 of us are on our way to door 9. That means that, best case scenario, there will be 2 of us who have to stay behind. 2 people. Is there a way?
Junpei looked over at the clock.
4:30. We've only got 90 minutes left. I've got no time to wonder about it now. Hey, Junpei! June! What the hell are you two doing? Hurry it up!
Santa's voice jolted Junpei out of his reverie.
Let's go, Jumpy!
June took off down the stairs, jogging as quickly as she could.
Yeah.
Junpei followed. As a group, they piled onto the elevator and rode impatiently down to E deck. It looked familiar. There was a metal grate between the two elevators. Seven grabbed hold of it and began to talk.
I know I told you I'd explain it earlier, but honestly, there ain't much to explain. After we split up from you guys, the four of us got into the elevator on the left, and that took us to the other side of the grate. After that, we headed down another hallway. It took us toward the bow, and eventually to the number 6 that you two found earlier. We opened it and kept going. There was another locked door behind it, like usual, but this time we had to complete 2 different areas before we could unlock it. Once we were through that door, there was another hallway that went the other direction, toward the stern.
So, on your way, you found the elevator.
That's right.
So, in other words, you kinda did a lap, huh? You came from that side to this side.
Yeah.
With that settled, Junpei looked around.
So, where's the number 9 door?
Over here. Follow me.
Seven began walking down the hallway that led toward the stern. Junpei and the others broke into a jog to keep up with them.
By the way,
They had been walking for a while, June in silent step with Junpei when she spoke.
you know, it's because of Santa that we're all here right now.
Huh?
That all 7 of us are going to door 9.
What?
You don't get it? Santa, 7, and Lotus, what's their digital route?
9.
It's 9.
That's right. They could have just left me behind and kept going if they'd wanted to.
But they didn't.
Oh, actually, while we're here, so they have a digital root of 9, and then so we also have me, Ace, June, and Clover. So June and Clover is 10, and then Ace and I are 6. So we have a digital root of 7, so we wouldn't be able to go through.
Yes, because Santa wouldn't let them. He said we can't leave June and the others behind. That's why we went looking for you guys.
And then you got on the elevator and went back to the central staircase.
That's right.
Well, I wouldn't have called that one. That Santa would be the one to stick up for you.
I wonder if there's a combination where we get one group of 3 and one group of 4 that both add up to 9. Junpei felt his eyebrows knit as he considered that.
Oh, don't get me wrong.
Perhaps June had sensed Junpei's concern.
I don't mean that 7 and Lotus said they wanted to leave me behind. We were just talking about it, and Santa objected to it first.
Is that so?
Junpei was about to respond when 7 suddenly
We're
stopped.
here.
In front of them stood a door.
So, is this...
Yeah.
Junpei couldn't see Seven's face, but he could see
There's
him
no other
nod.
place for us to go.
Nope. Just look around. There's a big old iron wall at the end of the hallway. The other hallways on the left and right are blocked by metal grates.
I see.
It looked as though 7 was right. Her and Santa collabing seems like the most likely thing at the moment. You mean June and Santa? Yeah, that would make sense. The door in front of them was their only choice.
Alright, let's get moving.
He pulled open the door and walked in. Junpei took a deep breath and followed.
Oh,
It appeared they'd been telling the truth.
no way.
The first thing Junpei saw as he entered the room was the number 9. Like all the others, it was a rough thing, made of red paint. The door it decorated sat on the back wall of a rectangular room. Junpei ran up to it.
The 9 door.
It was a large double door with powerful styling. Something about it was almost majestic, and it made the red paint look especially
We're
garish.
finally here.
Junpei grabbed the handle and shook. It didn't budge, but then he hadn't really expected it to. The red was bolted to the wall next to the door. Its display read
No
vacant.
doubt about it. This is door 9. Oh, finally! This is the last.
Junpei felt a flood of emotion wash over him. Hold on, we've got our traditional fucking follow bot that I need to ban. Give me a moment. Bots. Free follower bot. Free followers. Scam bot. Submit report. There we go. And block this user. Thank you. Oh. I didn't realize I'd accidentally hit one of my toggles, but I don't know. I guess my thinking hand is fine. He felt a chill down his back, and his chest tightened even as his blood began to boil. There was a moment of complete silence.
Junpei, look behind you.
He turned around.
Behind? What?
Junpei could scarcely believe what he saw.
Why? A door and a 9. There's another one. Hey, what the hell? What the hell is going on here?
His words came slowly, and his brain struggled to understand what he'd seen. On shaky legs, he made his way to the second 9. It was a small door, set parallel to the door they'd come through, but in the other corner of the room. 9. There was no mistaking the number, and if any more proof was needed, a red was bolted to the wall near the door.
There's a red there too. That means... And of course it won't open.
He grabbed the handle and shook the door, not because he expected it to open, but because he had to make sure it was real.
Why? Why the hell are there 2 doors?
It was Ace who spoke first.
Do you think perhaps one is the right door and the other is the wrong one?
Lotus was skeptical.
I don't know about that. It seems unlikely.
What makes you say so?
Well, think about all the rooms we've been through so far.
They almost always lead to the
They're
same
full of
area.
puzzles, but there are always hints about how to solve them. I'm pretty sure there aren't any rooms where we just had to go with our best guess and leave it to instinct to solve the puzzle. Do you really think that at the very end of the game, Zero's going to suddenly throw in something that depends entirely on luck?
Then you're saying there's some sort of hint in this room.
Again, murder is fine, but lying is impossible.
No, I don't think there's a hint anywhere in here. I searched it very well when I was in here before. I didn't find anything that might have been a hint, though.
Well then, that means...
Yeah, both of these are the right door. I mean, if you think about it. Zero never actually said there was only one door with a 9 on it.
It is hidden, but an exit can be found.
It does say a door, not the door.
Seek a way out. Seek a door that carries a 9.
Junpei began to mutter to
So
himself.
if there are 2 number 9 doors, if we split it up right,
That's not gonna work.
Junpei blinked and looked up at Clover. She held out her
You've
hand.
got a notebook and a pen, right? Can I borrow them?
Yeah, here.
Slightly confused, he pulled them out and handed them to her.
Look at this.
The like, I don't know why they decided to use like a whiteboard, like markers squeaking against a whiteboard noise for writing on notebook paper with a pen, but okay.
Clover opened the notebook to a blank page and set it down on the desk. Everyone else gathered around her and watched as she wrote down a series of numbers. Every option adds to 16. Every option adds to 16 because Snake was supposed to be there with them, which would have given them another 2, which would have made both groups 18. It's only because Snake is missing that it doesn't work.
The numbers on the top are all the combinations with digital roots of 9. The numbers on the bottom are the people who don't fit.
And also, that means... Yeah, and also, because the 9th man had the root of 9, if you add 9 to anything, and when you're working with digital roots, so like say you do 16 plus 9, that gives you 25, and the digital root is still going to be 7. So it was always intended, so it seems like it was always intended for everyone to get through. Or rather that they could only get through that they could only get through without sacrifices if everyone made it through. And the 9th man is the only person that could go missing or die without sacrificing multiple other people.
There's only 8 possibilities if we split up into 2 groups of 3 or 4 people. So...
If 3 people go through the door, then 4 are left behind. If 4 go through, then 3 are left behind, right?
yeah.
Clover nodded, almost as if she were pleased with herself for solving a difficult math problem.
No way.
Yeah, so that's interesting. The game was always designed so that, yeah, again, it seems like it was designed so where no one was actually supposed to die. Which I guess makes sense for the, which I guess makes sense, if it's just a repeat of the experiment, or it's the exact same design as the experiment that, Clover was apparently in. Though with the probable fake death, it might be designed to generate stress about what could have been. That's true too. Yeah. That is also true. But yeah. Again, it could have just been another version of the experiment. Which, again, the experiment wasn't designed to kill anyone. It was designed as life or death, to better enable telepathy. The room went very quiet. Silence lay across everyone like a thick, heavy blanket. No one spoke. Their faces were
Come to
blank.
think of it,
Desperate for something else to look at, Junpei turned his eyes to the room around him.
What is this room?
The walls were covered with candles. The wavering flame made the shadows of Junpei and his companions look as though they were dancing. 2 rows of wooden pews filled most of the room.
It looks like it's set up for some kind of ceremony. But what kind?
Between them was a strip of rich red carpet. The carpet ran straight through the room, ending at the door that pointed to the stern of the boat. At the other end of the carpet,
Is that an altar?
it was a recessed space set into the wall between the 2 other doors. Sitting on a raised section of the altar was a coffin. A coffin. A coffin.
A coffin? No, it couldn't possibly be.
But if it wasn't, then whose body occupied it? That was as far as Junpei wanted to pursue that line of thought. He decided not to think about the coffin for the time being. At that moment, Seven spoke. There was an edge of humor to his voice, but it was forced.
Okay, I give up. I give up. I figured if we sat around here long enough, someone would volunteer. But I guess nobody's got the guts to do it.
What are you talking about?
Junpei didn't understand, and he wasn't the only one.
What? You guys didn't figure it out yet? Fine, let me enlighten you. Clover was mostly right with her little explanation earlier, but she missed something. She wasn't really wrong, she just... screw it! Let me just write it out.
Again, the marker noise. Seven snatched up the notebook and began to write in it. Everyone else clustered around him, desperate for a look.
If you're trying to leave with a group of 3 and a group of 4 and get everybody out, Clover's right. But there's another way. Only one combination, though. If you split us up into groups of 3, 3, and 1, you can make this combination.
Wait, this means...
Don't get me wrong here. I'm not trying to copy Ace or anything like that. Even if he hadn't been the hero back in the big hospital room, I'd still be saying the same thing.
The same thing? Are you saying?
Yeah, I am. I'll stay behind.
Why are you acting so heroic all of a sudden? Are you some kind of idiot?
Lotus was the first to speak. That in itself was a little strange. She'd reacted much differently when Ace had volunteered.
No, I'm completely against this. I'll be goddamned if I'm gonna have to owe you for getting out of here.
The rest of them began to speak, all at once.
I'm against it too. I didn't want to leave Ace behind, and I don't want to leave you either.
I don't like that idea. There's gotta be other options.
Yeah, like finding Snake, who we
I
now know
disagree
is
as well.
still
I
alive.
can't say I care much for you being the hero.
Finally, they quieted down. Junpei looked at Seven.
Well, there you go, Seven. Proposal denied. Clover's right. There's gotta be a better way than this.
Seven made some noise that was somewhere between a derisive snort and a cough.
Doesn't make any sense.
He was doing his best to pretend they were making a foolish decision, but Junpei could see the twinkling of water at the corners of Seven's eyes. That was when Santa spoke.
Whoa, hold on a minute. I haven't said anything yet.
Until then, Junpei hadn't realized that Santa had stayed quiet for the whole discussion of Seven's fate. Something in his voice made Junpei uncomfortable.
Agreeing? You want to leave him here?
Santa shook his head.
I'm against it. I don't want to leave Seven here alone.
Then I don't see how it matters.
I said alone.
Huh?
I said I don't want to leave Seven alone.
There was a dull shine in Santa's eyes. They were cold and hard. Junpei felt himself shiver.
What the hell are you...
What? You don't get it? I can't leave just one person. I need 2 more. 3 people, including 7. I'll be leaving behind 3 people. That's my proposal. No, those are my orders.
What do you mean, orders? What the hell makes you think you can order us around? Who the hell's gonna listen to you?
You all will. In 3 seconds, you won't have a choice.
What?
3, 2, 1.
Santa was so fast, Junpei could barely see him. When he moved, it was almost like watching a dance, his feet moving like lightning. He spun and... he had June.
See? I told you.
His lips curled into a cruel, mocking smile.
Huh? What?
A shudder traveled the length of Junpei's spine. His chest froze and he could feel his breath go stale in his lungs. Nothing made sense. You know, gold is a really bad metal for a gun. Yeah, but it's very stylish. And that's what's important. Also, it might not be actual gold. Also, it's probably plating. Regardless of what it is. Santa's sudden change in attitude, saying that he needed 2 more. The gun in his right hand, a revolver. Santa had grabbed June from behind and pressed what Junpei's shaken brain identified as a revolver roughly against her temple.
Why? What the hell is that?
Where on earth had Santa possibly found a gun? Junpei's questions roared in his mind, but his mouth refused to ask them. Seven spoke, almost as though he had sensed Junpei's confusion.
The gun's from the other room.
What room?
One of the rooms behind door 6. I should have known he was gonna do this. I should have taken the gun.
Yeah, why didn't you take the gun from the dude who has consistently shown himself to be relatively unstable?
Well, it's too late now, fat ass.
Damn it.
A mixture of fury and frustration twisted Seven's face, and he glared at Santa. Santa, for his part, didn't so much as flinch. The corner of his lip twitched into a slightly wider smile. Then, the smile faded. Okay, again, none of this makes sense. And he began to move. He walked backward, dragging June with him. Before long, his back was resting against the door. On the wall next to him was the red. He put his hand on the scanner panel quickly, and then forced June to do the same. He was already gonna get out.
Now, time for you to start following my orders. Ace, Lotus, congratulations. I've chosen you to come with me.
Maybe he's pissed that the dudes sacrificing themselves stopped the kind of infighting you wanted. Maybe. Or there's someone in particular he was trying to get his hands on. Cause again, the combination of him and June, they add to 9, so they need another combination that adds to 9. So he could be wanting to get his hands on Ace or Lotus. And I guess in this case, because the other combination that would work is Clover and me.
Put your hands in the red.
That was what Santa had meant when he said he needed 2 more.
Hey, you deaf? I gave you an order.
Santa's eyes narrowed to slits. He glared at Ace and Lotus. They stayed frozen like deer caught in the headlights of an oncoming car.
Right. Fine. I didn't want to waste any bullets, but you guys just don't get it.
No sooner were the words out of Santa's mouth than his hand twitched, and the gun roared. A section of the floor exploded, scattering wooden splinters across the floor. A thin plume of smoke snaked out of the hole in the floor. There could be no doubt that the gun was real and worked.
He really shot it? But why? Santa, why are you...
Clover's voice spoke of betrayal and disbelief.
Santa, I thought you were one of us. I thought we were friends.
What?
You knew about the leaf words and the four-leaf clover.
Santa's cheek twitched, almost
What the
imperceptibly.
hell is that shit? I've got no idea.
You're lying.
Shut up. Just shut up, you stupid bitch. You want me to put a bullet in your fucking head?
Flecks of spit flew from Santa's mouth, his face twisted with rage. Clover recoiled, her eyes wide. When she spoke, her voice was very small.
Santa.
He snorted, then shook his head vigorously and turned to face Ace and Lotus.
All right, assholes. What are you still standing there for? Get over here and scan those bracelets. I don't have all day. Oh, what's the matter? Your hearing's starting to go? Going senile, maybe?
Ace and Lotus still didn't move. It almost seemed as if they couldn't move. June's face was pale behind Santa's arm. Her eyes were wild and her chest heaved with every quick breath, like an animal cornered by a predator. Junpei's mind worked furiously. What were they going to do? Junpei. Then he realized something. There was nothing they needed to do. There was nothing to debate. June's safety was the first priority. That much was obvious. Doing as Santa had commanded meant that she would be safe from at least 2 threats. She wouldn't be shot, and she would leave the ship alive, along with Santa, Ace, and Lotus. There was only one thing for Junpei to do.
Only way.
He turned to Ace and Lotus.
Go. Huh?
No way.
Junpei, what are you saying? If you stay here, you're going to be stuck, Junpei.
Yeah, June is definitely evil.
And so will Clover and Seven.
I know. But you don't need to worry about us. We'll figure something out. Right, Seven?
Right. You just leave it to us. It's gonna piss me off to do what Santa says, but...
Don't worry about me either. There's still something I have to take care of. No, no! You can't! Ace, Lotus, don't come over! Don't worry about me, please!
June was almost crying. Junpei walked around behind Ace and Lotus. He gently placed a hand on each of their shoulders and pushed them toward the door. They almost stumbled, then righted themselves and took another step, and another. They turned around and Junpei nodded.
All right.
Fine.
Ace and Lotus turned around again and walked slowly toward the door where Santa was waiting for them. After what seemed like an eternity, they stopped in front of the door marked 9. Santa smiled.
All right. Now let's get those hands on the scanner panel. What's the holdup? What? You think I'm fucking around here? I don't give a shit about this girl. Greg doesn't need a person, you know? All I need is the bracelet. You get it? Good. Now put your fucking hands on the scanner. I'm not gonna say it again.
He shoved the revolver harder against June's head, and she winced.
Fine.
Ace sighed, defeated, and placed his hand on the scanner panel. Lotus went next. Lotus glared at Santa and slammed her hand onto the scanner panel. The fourth asterisk blinked on.
Good job. Now, Lotus, pull that lever. As soon as the door opens, you get your ass in there. Try anything stupid, and you know what happens, right?
Damn it.
Junpei could almost hear Lotus's teeth grind. The door slid open. Door number 9 opened at last. It opened with a low, powerful rumble, a drum roll to welcome the chosen few. You died too because of the rules, I thought? Nope. Only the bracelet needs to make it to the other side. And the bracelet comes off once your heart rate reaches 0. So, yeah, no, you could absolutely just, quickly murder one of the people. Or even fucking cut their hand off and just use their bracelet. It's only if, everyone needed to participate. Well, if the 3 surviving people all participate, that would work. Still work. Also, that's assuming that, 1, that Santa isn't 0, and 2, that, 0 is privy to exactly what is going on in there.
Good. Go.
Also, it has now been established that, like, yeah, you can take the, like, that when you die, the bracelet still works, because we saw that with 0. With, like, the fake 0. Lotus and Ace walked through the door, their eyes furious but defeated. Santa waited until they were all the way inside, then hauled himself and June across the threshold as well. 6, 7, 8.
Later.
After exactly 9 seconds, the door swung shut. The gust of air it created caused the candles on the altar to flicker and die. The room fell silent. Junpei, Clover, and Seven had been left behind. Clover looked down at her hand and traced with her finger the faint blue veins that crisscrossed them. Seven shoved his arms into the front of his overalls and scratched his stomach. No one spoke. Silence made the air feel thick and oppressive. Desperate for something, anything to occupy his mind, Junpei walked to the larger of the 2 9 doors. He stood in front of it and looked at the red. It read, "Engaged." He moved to the smaller door. The red read vacant. The digital root of the remaining people was 7. There was no possible way for them to open a door with 9 on it. Junpei touched the surface of the door.
June.
He thought about June, about Akane Kurishiki. Was she safe? That was all that mattered to him. If she was alive, if she'd escaped this horrible boat. That was what Junpei prayed for. 7 came up next to him. He pulled off his hat, scratched his head, and sighed.
So, what do you want to do, Junpei?
What do you mean, what do I want to do? What can we do?
Find Snake. 7 opened his mouth to respond when a noise echoed through the room. Someone was pounding on something vigorously. It wasn't mechanical. It was certainly human. Junpei and 7 looked at one another.
What the hell is that?
Shh, quiet.
Clover motioned to Seven to be quiet. She put one finger to her lips and closed her eyes in concentration. The three of them listened, trying to determine where the sound was coming from.
Where is it coming from? Could it be?
Hey, I think it's coming from this coffin.
You're right.
Let's open it.
But how?
What are those muscles for? For show?
You're telling me to force it open?
Just shut up and try!
Don't gotta be rude about it. Junpei and Seven grabbed a hold of the coffin. They tried to get a good grip with what little purchase they could find, and pulled with all their strength.
Damn it!
It won't even budge.
There was some sort of keypad attached to the coffin. Its purpose wouldn't have been difficult to determine. Their eyes were almost immediately drawn to it.
Not another one.
Yeah, looks like it.
Do you think we have to put in the right password or it won't open?
I think so.
The noise wasn't stopping. In fact, it was getting louder.
Whoever or whatever's inside this thing wants out. And now.
I know that. But how?
Without a passcode, I don't think there's much we can do.
They couldn't even tell how many numbers the passcode needed to be.
Well, let's look for one.
Unfortunately, there didn't seem to be anything near the coffin. Clover ran to examine the pews and Seven investigated the desk, but they turned up nothing.
There's nothing here.
Not making this easy, are they?
The sound still wouldn't stop. It wasn't a noise that belonged in that room.
It's the passcode. What am I supposed to do? How can we figure it out? I need something.
All right. Unfortunately, that's the wrong answer. All right. All right. You've reached one ending. This game has multiple endings. In order to experience all the endings, you need to play through the game multiple times. Make sure to save your progress now to retain all the information you've acquired. Memory of Escape has been added to the title screen. Memory of Escape enables you to replay the escape rooms you've completed. Would you like to save the info you obtained during this playthrough? After saving, the game will restart from the beginning. Please select the save slot. Yes. Save complete. Access the flowchart or return to the title screen to start from the beginning. Alright, so that's one ending. And that is where I will leave it for today. And so, we still have 3 more endings that you could, well, 4 more endings, yeah. So these 3 endings and then this one. We have 4 more endings to get and a couple more paths that we can choose. Alright, so thank you to everyone who joined me. I am very excited. Yeah, I am very excited that we have gotten our first ending. And yeah, very excited to get back to this next week. So, let's take you over to my stream ending screen. Alright. Thank you very much, everyone who came out, whether you were just popping in for a little while, lurking in chat, active in chat, or watching over on the VOD channel on YouTube. I appreciate the support, whatever form it takes. And my next stream will be tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Time or 6 p.m. Pacific Time. And with that, it will be my usual Sunday drawing stream, just to clarify. And with that, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, whichever time zone you are in. And I will see you all next time. Bye-bye!